Twitter is a treasure chest of data for social sentiment. The money made in meme stock trading is a stunning example of the power of community sentiment. Nevertheless, you could spend hours manually scrolling social media without gleaning meaningful insight. Or you could equip yourself with automation and machine learning to measure sentiment in real time and produce useful results. I'm Amanda Martin with Deephaven, and in this video, I'm going to go over one of the example repos we have called Twitter Sentiment Analysis. Let's get started. When you open up our repo, this is kind of the screen you're going to see. I have here a whole bunch of the keys and installations that you're going to need. Now, I already imported my bear token and my FinHub ID. You're going to want to do that before you actually get started. So pause here and make sure you have everything up and running. Okay, now that you have everything up and running, go to the twitter.py script, and we're going to start doing some edits to fine-tune what we actually want. Starts off with a whole bunch of imports, of course, and then we have our search term. Now, the search term in this case is Doge, because I really want to know about the Doge coins. Some of the other things that you're going to want to fine-tune are the max results, time bins, and time history. Now, the max results is how many results it's pulling for every single bin. And so you're going to want to have it so that your max results don't reach the limit that quickly. Now, if you're like me, you'll have 2 million as the max. And so feel free to up that number a bit. For this use case, so you can see the data coming in really fast and heavy, I'm going to put it at 100. Now, my limit is 7 days because I don't have the academic account. And that's probably yours too. So keep that at 7, or if you want to know just how it changed in the last day or two, feel free to limit that time to just the last few days. Over those last few days, you're going to want to bin the data, and that's going to be the total number of time bins. Now, we have this parameter because if you use the Twitter version 2 API and you don't bin your data, it'll pull all of those results back from the most recent. And since Doge is really popular, you get a lot of results. So I'm going to want to do, let's say, 21 bins. And so that means for 3 times a day, it's going to pull the data at 100 results per time. So that's really all you need to change to get things up and running. Now, I'll talk a little bit more about how this works while it runs. Apparently, I don't have that much time. Wow. I always forget how fast Deephaven is. So we have some functions that I pulled from the Twitter version 2 API that pulls in the tweets. One of the things that I added to it was I'm using the natural language Python built-in tool NLTK. And what that does is it gets me the sentiment of the tweet. So I just upload the tweet as a JSON into that and returns the score. The other thing that you want to make sure that you change is when you're doing your query parameters with Twitter, you want to make sure you have the start time and the end time. Now, for this example, if you scroll down, you'll see I have the current time as the start time, and then the end time I have based on those time bins. Okay, so that's the meat of it, and let's get to the actual data because that's the cool part. So here you can see is all of the tweets that we pulled in, and notice that the number of tweets is almost 2,000. So that's quite a bit of tweets, and I could scroll through and see there's a lot of tweets there. Now, because of the weird language of Twitter, a lot of the tweets are neutral, and that's because they don't actually have any real words, of course. Like this one has no real words, so it's not positive or negative, it's just neutral, according to the NLTK toolkit. Whereas some of them you can see are more positive or negative or whatnot. Now again, this is a lot of information, and it doesn't really mean that much to me because I'm just now scrolling this list rather than scrolling through Twitter, which is good, but we can do more. Okay, so the next script I want you to look at is the graphing script. One of the things to notice about this is when I pulled in these tweets, I also pulled in the retweet count, reply count, and all that other stuff. Because my thought is, if something is retweeted more often, then that means it should be kind of valued more highly than something else. So here is our graphing function. And in this graphing function, what I do is I'm going to aggregate all of the tweets so we can start to get some analysis of what's happening. Now, this is going to make a few tables. It's going to make a table, which is our binned sentiment analysis. And then it's going to take that and it's going to combine them together with that ag list. So I'm going to take these and I'm going to run it. And so now the one that you want to look at is the combined tweets table. So this one has this time bin where you can see we've now binned the tweets up in some interval. So this one has 5 tweets in it. Some of them are still pretty small, but we have the weighted tweets as well as the non-weighted. The weighted is going to incorporate so those retweets are a little bit higher than the other ones. And I have, if you look up here, just a retweet count is the direct weighting on these. So again, that's useful, but we can still do more. One of the things that I like to see is I like to see the plot of this. So I'm going to graph this, and I'm going to make this big so you can actually see it. Here are the SAI averages over the last 7 days with time, and whether it's positive or negative. Now, if I had more bins, then this would be a little bit more meaningful if I had a shorter time with more bins and you get more data. But here you can see we have a mostly negative sentiment, mostly positive, negative. Here's a really nice positive one. So there's a lot that we can see with this. Now, the next step is going to be to actually pull in the historical Dogecoins and see what actually happens. But that's for the next blog post. So if you have any questions or ideas, feel free to hit us up on Gitter. Till next time.